Okay, y'all. I wanted to talk about this because it's been uh, it's been tickling my brain, as it were. This whole story. It's a sad story. I shouldn't say it's been tickling my brain because it's not a happy thing, and it's a tragedy, and I want to say that first and foremost. Um, but I'll just talk about the story first, and then go from there, or talk about the topic of this video, and then take it from there. Tragic cause of death is released for Aubrey Plaza's film director husband Jeff Benia. Um, so Aubrey Plaza is an actress you've maybe seen. She was on the show Parks and Recreation. She's been in a bunch of other things. She often plays this sort of sullen goth kind of girl. I say girl even though she's like 40 now. But her husband, I didn't know this, was a director and somebody who had worked on in various capacities in a more creative capacity in the film industry. And I have to say, I have to admit, whenever I hear uh, a someone in the entertainment industry kills himself or kills herself, my ears perk up, and I think to myself, what's the real story? What's actually going on? Because we all know that Hollywood is a cesspit, um, and we when when do we ever really know if what we're being told is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? We don't. We can't. Um, Now, this story caught my attention and kept my attention for some reasons I will go into here in a minute. In addition to the fact that it's just, of course, heartbreaking, sad. Uh, so let me read a little bit of the story here from this is a summary of it at the Daily Mail. Filmmaker Jeff Benia died by suicide inside the Los Angeles home he shared with his actress wife Aubrey Plaza. In an update after his death on Friday, the L.A. Medical Examiner's Office said the 47-year-old died by hanging at their property. His body was discovered by an assistant in the home they purchased in 2022. All right. Scroll down a bit. So he was found. He had hanged himself. It's not told here any more. We're not given any more detail than that. Where he hung himself from, what he hung himself with. I mean, I guess it would be, there's such a thing as, respecting people's privacy. At the same time, though, when someone famous or semi-famous dies in an unexpected way, you do kind of want to know exactly what happened. The pair were last seen at a hike together this past summer, 6 months before his tragic suicide. That's quite a while before. So you wonder if all was well. There he is, the guy this film director who took his own life, allegedly, husband of Aubrey Plaza. And here they are together. Now, this picture struck me as interesting, and I couldn't shake. This is a picture of the two of them at the Sundance Film Festival in 2017. He's got his hand placed over her tummy there. Now, there's nothing. What if you saw this picture? What would you think? You'd think that she's pregnant, right? I haven't heard anything about her, about them having children. I don't think they have any children. But you just I mean, maybe he's just got his arms around her, or has his hands around her, both of his hands, sort of embracing her waist area. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it's still kind of struck me as interesting. I don't know. So, let's see. They've been together since 2011. So he's best known for directing Life After Beth, which Plaza starred in, and The Little Hours. He also co-wrote I Heart Huckabees. That was a movie from, 20 years ago. So he must have been really young. He's 47. He died at age 47. That was if I'm not mistaken, that was a movie from 2003, 2004, something like that. So he was in his early to mid 20s at that time. So here's the thing. So they talk about other movies that he's been involved with. He's not a famous director, but he, someone, I guess, in the indie film circuit. So not really that indie, because this is all very Hollywood adjacent, but not, nothing high budget, nothing that's incredibly high profile. But the one movie that he directed that really caught my attention here is this movie called Joshi. All right, now I had actually seen this movie. I think it was a few years ago, from 2016. It stars the guy who was on that. I don't know his name, but he was on that Silicon Valley show. He was the main, the nerdy guy. He was the star of that show. Plays sort of nerdy, awkward guys. And so here, let me just let's just look at the way this is written up, the summary of this movie. Joshi's that's just Joshi. It's just the fun name, that the nickname that his friends call him, but his name's Josh. Josh's fiance kills herself. 4 months later, Josh's friends hope to cheer him up at the cabin in, I don't know how to say that the name of that town, Ojai, California, rented for his bachelor party weekend. Starting at the local bar, things get wild. Okay, so this was a movie that was written and directed by Jeff Bana. Now, I had seen elsewhere that it was written by Jeff Bana, co-written by Jeff Bana, and Alison Brie. Alison Brie is the actress who was on the show Community. That's where I know her best. She's been in a few other things, and often was featured in Jeff Bana's movies. But in this movie, she plays Josh's fiance, and in the first few scenes, the opening 10 minutes of the movie, we see, now this is the part that really is quite striking and quite shocking. In the first 10 minutes of the movie, we see him coming home to her. They've got a wedding planned in the near future. They're living together now. and she's sort of acting normal, more or less, and she is going to cook something for dinner, and she calls her parents, and then he comes back from working out and sees his belt stuck in the door, and forces open the door and sees that she's hanged herself with his belt. And so that's the whole, and so that's the opening part of this movie. Now the movie is a comedy. It's sort of a, it's like a, well, it's like a, it's like a drama, a dramatic comedy, a dramedy. I hate that word, but it's mostly a comedy. It's mostly about this awkward occasion where Josh's friends get together. It's 4 months later. This was the time that they were set to have this bachelor party, and he had already rented this house for his bachelor party weekend that he was going to spend with his buds. And he's still got this reservation, even though she killed herself. So it's not a bachelor party anymore because he's not getting married anymore because his fiance's dead. But what I find so incredible about this movie is that, again, it's directed by this Jeff Baena guy, written and directed by Jeff Baena. So he wrote this movie that was released in 2016. It was filmed whenever, I don't know whenever it was before its release date. Sometimes films are complete their filming a couple of years before their release. I don't know when this was actually filmed, but it was released in 2016, and it opens with this guy coming home to find that his girlfriend has mysteriously killed herself, and there's no explanation for it. She's acts fairly normal up to that point, and there's never any real closure on that subject. It's just a weird, crazy thing. But there's a scene later on in the movie where her parents come over to visit him at his bachelor party house, and they one and his dad is her dad, his fiance's, his dead fiance's dad is played by Paul Reiser, and the parents come in and they pretend to be nice, and they apologize for how they've been acting towards him, and saying, we're sorry we didn't let you go to her funeral, which was really seems pretty extreme. But they were suspicious of him for perhaps playing some role in her death. That they just can't accept that she just killed herself with no explanation. Now, none of this sounds funny at all. I know this is really weird to say that this is a funny scene, or this is a scene in a comedy, but it somehow works comedically in this movie, just because his friends are there, and they've been having they've been trying to have fun. Like, his friends don't know exactly how to approach this whole situation, so they've been trying to have it be a fun thing and not bring up the elephant in the room, and then but they've been drinking and doing drugs and stuff, and so it's been a kind of debauched weekend. And then the parents of his dead fiance suddenly come over and pretend to be nice, but they're really grilling him, and they're asking him these, trying to get him to confess, and they're wearing a wire. And so after this scene, Josh has this kind of he has this. Let me put the director back in the shot here. And by the way, Aubrey Plaza also has a role in a small part in this movie. But so Josh says, I'm so mad at her for doing this, and I'm so angry with her for just leaving me behind and letting, and I just have to grieve and go on, not understand. And it's a heartrending scene. It's very well done, very well played. Not I'm very allergic to melodrama, and this was not melodramatic at all. It's very well acted. But it's just really strange that he would make a movie about somebody who killed herself for no apparent reason by hanging. She killed herself with his belt in the bedroom. And then this movie would come out in 2016, and then 9 years later, 8.5 years later, he would kill himself. He would kill himself by hanging. Aubrey Plaza herself was away during this time. And I don't know we don't know much about what their relationship was like with his. There's been nothing put out there about what might have led him to do this, or any history of depression or whatever on his part. And I mean, again, it's not like it's not like the public has a right to know any of this stuff. I'm aware of that. I just find it really it grabs me that he made a movie on this exact subject about a loved one killing herself and leaving everybody else behind, wondering what happened and why she did it. And now in life he repeats that, if we buy the official story, of course. And I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm really not. I'm not. I mean, but the truth is, I don't know these people, so I don't know what's true and what isn't, and I don't know what might have happened. But from everything I've heard, there's no reason to think that this was anything other than a suicide. So what led to it? What led to life imitating art in this very sad way is a question that I think impresses itself upon me. And I just wanted to share it with y'all.